Welcome, and Happy New Year's, everyone. I'm so excited that we are in the new year. So many things that are happening. I can't even be happier. And definitely welcome to our January's destination of the month, which is Cancun and Riviera Maya. So, for those who have never been, it's an amazing destination. We are going to dive in just with some quick tips and things to know prior to traveling there, a little bit of information about both of them that I typically tell my clients and things of that manner for when you're looking to go there. But definitely stay tuned this month. We are having so many different things in terms of hotels to stay at, things to do while you're there. You'll also see some videos of just some fun facts, histories. I always tell people anytime when you're going to any of these destinations, you really want to know about where you're going. It's always fun to do a little bit of research beforehand, or if not, with a lot of our clients, they come to us and I'll tell you everything prior to going to make sure you know everything in advance. So, with that being said, my name is Tysheda. I am the founder and CEO of Luxury Travels by Dreamy Designer Events, where we curate elite experiences for our clientele, as well as organize and manage retreats for coaches, consultants, and companies worldwide, making sure that they can transform as well as rediscover, reset the lives so that you can come back refreshed and rejuvenated to have an amazing year. So, with that being said, let's just jump right in. So, both of these destinations are amazing. They're both located east coast of Mexico. I always tell people they always have, with a lot of our clientele, it depends on what you're looking to experience when you go there. There are a ton. When I say a ton, there is so many different resorts, accommodations that you can literally stay at there. There's everything from your budget friendly bare minimum, which pretty much that is like you have somewhere to sleep. You're not looking for any fancy, spectacular food, maybe not a lot of amenities, and then you have everything to your high elevated experience where you have over the water bungalows, butler service, and have 5-star plus accommodations and service. So no matter what you're looking for, they always have something that fits the needs. So when a lot of people think of East Coast Mexico or Cancun or Maya, they all have their different variations. I typically tell people we're going to start with Cancun first. So Cancun is actually closest to the airport, and I'll go over a little bit more once we go into Riviera Maya, but they have a lot of different variations. So they have the hotel zone, which the hotel zone is located right where you're within walking distance of restaurants, cafes, nightlife. I almost kind of tell people it's kind of like a Miami hits Mexico vibe. So all of the hotels are going to be high rises. Most of them are going to have a ton of floors. They'll have elevators, but you're going to get that city life. So when you walk through, you're going to see hotel, hotel, hotel right next to each other. And the same thing, these hotels can go everything from your 3-star or lower to your 5-star or plus. Typically, with all of our clientele, we only really stay with 4 stars or higher unless it's something where it's like a bare minimum, maybe 3.5, but that's only based off of if we really back it. If it's something that we don't really back or that we don't feel comfortable, we won't. Just because we want to make sure that everyone is safe, but also too that you're going to have an experience that you're looking for while traveling there. And then with Cancun, they have an amazing beach, which if you stay tuned later this month, you'll actually see a short recap of different places to stay, different photos, things of that manner. Their beaches are gorgeous. The sand is nice, depending on the hotel you're staying at. Even though they're high rises, some of them are bigger than others. So some of them will have where like once you walk in, they may have like a left and a right side, where they'll both have high rise hotels, but they'll have restaurants, they have activities, entertainment. A lot of them will have things, if it's a family friendly resort, they'll have things for the kids to do. Some of them even have like a water park. So there's a ton of things to do, which is why I really like it. The nice part about it though is a lot of the hotels is their top priority, not only for while you're at the hotel to make sure you feel safe, but also to make sure that while you're on their property, there is a lot for you to do. And even if you have tours or anything that's prearranged, which I will go into that a little bit later, they do have to check in with their guards coming in. They come in, they'll be able to pick you guys up and then they'll leave. So they do try to make sure that everything's facilitated pretty safely. I always tell people, and I tell them no matter where you go, even if people were traveling locally within themselves, when you're going to these places, they're nice, they're amazing, but you're also still in another country and you're still, human. And so just make sure you use your own same street sparse, meaning that, not meeting up with anyone you don't know, taking drinks from anyone you don't know, planning tours or excursions. This is a really big one. There are a lot of tour providers, depending on where you're looking to go and things of that manner. There are some that are more replicable, or I should say, more that I would probably say that are a better choice to go with. We'll go with that in terms of quality, service, and what you're going to get while you're there. So these are just things to make sure when it comes to tours. I normally recommend if you're going there for a short amount of time, it's always good to do some research ahead of time, pre-book them, just so that you can make sure if it's something you want to do, they're already done by the time you get there. All you're worried about is what time you're meeting your company and things of that manner. If you're staying there a little bit longer, so I typically say this is about 5 nights to a week or longer. You can do them while you get there. Just keep in mind if you're traveling during a holiday, summertime, there's always chances that tours are going to be booked and you're just hoping that they have availability for the time you're there. And then on top of that, this goes into the other things. So depending on if you do tours, they have a lot of providers at the airport. When it comes to it, I recommend when you book your flights or hotel, make sure you do have something that has transfers included. It just makes it easier. You don't have to worry about trying to figure out when you get there, who to trust, who not to trust, things of that manner. Same thing goes for tours. Most hotels do have companies that are at the hotel. If you don't, then typically if you pre-booked your transfers, a lot of times that company does do tours and they'll let you know how to reach them in case you want to do any tours while you're there. These are just some things to kind of keep in mind. It makes the trip smoother and make sure that you can do it streamlessly so you don't have to worry about thinking about it, or sometimes, you have questions like, oh, should I trust this one, things that manner. Mostly everyone, like I said, there's a lot of different options, but making sure that you're choosing the best one for your fit. The next thing is pre-arranging anything you want to do while you're there. So say for example, if you wanted to do like shopping, tours, and it's a big group of you guys, this is also another range where you want to pre-arrange it so you can make sure everyone can get there. If you guys are, if it's only like one, two, maybe even three people, you guys can pretty much be also good doing it while you're there. But if it's a big group of people, definitely do it in advance so that you can make sure everyone can attend. Plus, some tours, they may have a max. So, say for example, if you're traveling with more than 7 or 8 people, some of them do go larger than that. But if you're traveling more than that, sometimes they may either have to arrange it where you guys almost have like a private tour, or they'll do something where they can do two different ones, but you guys are traveling together. So again, these are things that don't we typically with most of our clientele we handle all of that. You guys don't have to worry about any of it. We just like to tell people in general, in case that you're doing something on your own, or if you're doing it with somebody else, you make sure these are all things that they really should be going over with you, but just so that you know in advance at the same time. Cancun, amazing. I know a lot of people really think of it as either parties, spring break, things that matter, which don't get me wrong, they do have the resorts that have the parties, the nightlife. They also have the different entertainment and things to do in downtown. They have all of that. So that is definitely something that they're known for. However, Cancun isn't only that. There's so much to do, even if you're just walking around in their area where they have shops, they have restaurants, even if just walking along the beach, they have a whole nother atmosphere of it. I really like Cancun because the beach, I'm not a huge big party. I like a little bit of nightlife at the hotel, but I'm not really like a big party person. But they really kind of hit that curve for no matter what you're looking for. So you can even go somewhere and say, for example, if it's a big group of you, some of you guys like to party, other ones like, hey, I can see you guys when you come back. That's perfectly fine too. Anything off of the resort, I say the same thing over and over, and I tell people, like I said, a lot of those areas that are within walking distance, they're really good. I mean, they're perfectly fine to walk around. Just walk. with caution. The same way you wouldn't walk around the alley back home, the same way you wouldn't want to do it while you're there. That's all it is. Like I said, as long as you have that, if you meet someone, you're not taking drinks from strangers, the same stuff you would do. That's pretty much the scope of it. But definitely it's really good. Anything that you also want to, like if you're celebrating a special occasion, birthday, anniversary, if you're celebrating just, anything of that manner, a lot of the hotels, especially the higher you go up in quality and star rating, they will do something. So if you let them know in advance, they'll have something, and let them know in advance, they'll have something at the hotel in the room for you. Some of them even have packages that you can purchase in advance to really make your special occasion really that more extravagant. Honestly, if you're celebrating anything, you want to go big. Go big or go home. That's typically what I say. And then we'll go over to Riviera Maya. Riviera Maya is really nice. I really like it. I kind of tell people it's kind of like Caribbean hits Mexican vibes. And when I say that, it's because you're not going to get as many high rises in Riviera Maya. They're going to be more kind of wider. So instead of them all going up, they're going to be more wider. So some of the floors you may have hotels, I mean, you may have resorts that are like 3 to like 5 floors. Most of them don't go higher than that. If they do, it's not too much. But the biggest thing is when I say Caribbean, everything's more spread out. So you're going to get a bigger resort in terms of, so instead of all the rooms going up, they're going to go more wider, if that makes sense. So that way the resort is actually, you have a more walkable. So that means you're going to have like from one end to the other end, things you can walk, do. Still has the same concept, activities, entertainment, everything. It's so important. Same thing. They have a ton of hotels. It all goes to what you're looking to do at the hotel as well as what type of traveler you are, because there's some hotels that are amazing for nightlife. That means they have events every day, they have parties every day, things of that manner. And then they have ones if you just want to go away, relax, maybe read a book. You may like a little bit of entertainment in the evenings, but you're like, I can take it more, I can leave it more than take it. And then they also have ones that kind of are for family friendlies where you're like, I want the kids to be at the water park, I want babysitting, I want to be able to, do a couple's dinner on the beach, things of that manner. So it's very, very important when choosing that, because sometimes you can choose a hotel and you're like, oh, the hotel was great, but there may have been another one that kind of fit more what you were looking for. You just didn't know it. Riviera Maya, also, it's very, very long. So if you ever look at the map, Riviera Maya, your hotel can be anywhere from 25 minutes from the airport to over 2 hours from the airport. It just depends on what part of the area you are staying in. They have Maroma, which Maroma has really great beaches. Then they also do have Playa del Carmen, which is kind of like they're in town for Riviera Maya. So that's where, like, depending on where you're staying in Playa del Carmen, you actually are walking distance from shops, restaurants, even their nightclub. They have an avenue that has just pretty much like any type of genre you like music wise. And they have different nightclubs on that area itself. So depending on where you're staying, they also do have in Playa del Carmen a port where you can actually go and you can actually take the ferry over to Cozumel, which is another island that it has like shops if you want to do again like water sports. They also have ATVs, all that stuff is there too. You can even rent like, I guess it's like almost like a golf cart, and you can actually drive around the island, things of that. So that's in Playa del Carmen. And then if you go further down, you also hit closer to where Tulum is, and that's where you're hitting more of your 2 hours plus drive. Just depends. They've been doing on and off construction for the past few years, so it could be less, it could be more. That's just something to keep in mindful. Tulum is really nice. That's where you're going to hit a lot more of the cultural part of it. So you're going to see, you're going to be close to a lot more of their ruins there. It's going to get a lot more, I say, jungly. Some of the resorts are also still close to the beach, but because they don't want to disturb any of the natural habitat, it may just be a little bit of a walk. It's still technically still all considered on the resort, but you may just walk be walking through a few trees to get to where the resort is. But Tulum itself also does have their own little downtown. Depending on where you're staying, most of the time you may be only a short drive away. So whether you take a taxi or have the hotel facilitate the transportation and you pay them while you're there, all that stuff. So that's why I say with Riviera Maya, it depends on where you stay. This is also a very, very important one because Riviera Maya has a lot of hotels, and I always tell people there are so many of them, but definitely each hotel has its own vibe, and I feel like each hotel has its own type of clientele. Some of them can obviously fit more than one particular type of clientele, but I always tell people our initial consultation when we talk to all of our clients is what are you looking to experience? What type of travel you are? And that's how we can pinpoint the best hotel for you. And I say that too because there may be a hotel that hits what you're looking for, but there also may be a hotel that's better. So this is like the one, it's kind of like almost pairing the match. And some of them, there are a few different matches, but want to make sure that you get that too, because sometimes you can see like a great picture, you may see a great experience on their website or whatever, but that hotel may be 360 from what you're really looking for. So this is why I say it's so important. The only other thing I like to tell people, especially with Riviera Maya, it's a big Mexico, especially East Coast. It's a really big thing in general, but when it comes to Riviera Maya, seaweed has been an ongoing problem. It has been for years. Some times of years could be a little bit less than others. The hotels try to keep up as much as possible. But I really tell people if you're a really big beach person, that may be the only thing that hinders you. Like me personally, I'm like, oh, great beach. Take a picture of the ocean, may or may not get a little bit of seaweed in the photo, and then I'm good with the pool. Or if I'm good just walking along the beach, that part. But if you're like beach is like a priority, this may be the only thing that I would say like it's kind of hit or miss. You're probably going to see more than not. The hotels do try to, but because it's the water, as even when they clean it up, the waves come in, more washes up, things of that manner. So that's just something just to keep in mind. Sometimes when you get closer to like the Maroma, you can get better. However, again, it's seasonality, so you can still get it. And because of how the trend has been, it's been more on than more off. So that's just something just to keep in mind because it's one of those things where you're like, oh, I don't want to have this amazing experience you're looking for. And you get there, you're like, what is this? So that's just something just to keep in mind. Depending on where you're coming from in the world, I'm going to do it from the States. So in the States, if you're traveling there, you do not have to convert your money. They do like our money there. I do recommend if you are traveling with cash, just to have smaller bills, just because it makes it easier when breaking it. And if you have too many bigger bills, they will give you their money in return. So just to make it easier on both ends, honestly, if you're traveling and you're going to be using your card, I normally recommend using a credit card versus a debit card. It just makes it easier in case anything happens, whether it's suspect or fraudulent or a possibility. You just want to kind of, alleviate all of those risks in general. Debit card is more easier access to the money at the time. Credit cards is much better because it's like not I would say it's better, but in terms of like you can actually stop it and not feel like, all your money is getting held up. The other thing I will tell you is two things. I say this anyway. A lot of carriers now, depending on this really depends on where you're coming from, but if you're coming from the States, some of the carriers do have either a travel pass that you can have for your phone, or they have it where Mexico and Canada are included in your plan. So, two things I normally recommend: call your phone company in advance to find out is it covered? If not, what's the cost? And is there a plan that you can have just so you can have your full service there? And then second thing is also to call your credit card company or your bank to find out if you have currency exchange fees. Because if you have more than one card, it's almost better to do the one that either has no exchange fees or has the lowest because they can add up the more you use your card. The best part about it is when you travel to Mexico, most of their resorts are all inclusive. They do have some that are not, but most of them are. So a lot of times if you're spending money, it's more so if you do tours off of the resorts or if there's something that you're buying like at the shop or spas. But yeah, so that's pretty much the scope of it. Definitely stay tuned. We have so many different things that's coming in this month. Talking about Mexico, Cancun, Riviera Maya. Definitely get excited. There's so many different things. Same as always, if you have questions or anything, definitely feel free to shoot us over an email. If you want to schedule a consultation, it will be in the description below. And definitely make sure you like and subscribe because we have so many different things coming on with different destinations, with Mexico, also with things coming on that's going to be popping up on our channel. So definitely make sure you stay tuned. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day and look forward to talking to you guys soon. Bye.